Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, a hardliner long seen as a potential successor to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was killed in a helicopter crash in mountainous terrain near the Azerbaijan border. The charred wreckage of the helicopter, which crashed on Sunday, carrying Raisi and Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahian, was found early on Monday after an overnight search in blizzard conditions. The 63-year-old, a figure representing conservative and hardline factions in Iranian politics, was president for nearly 3 years and appeared on track to run for re-election next year. A former Chief Justice, Raisi, was touted as a potential successor to the Supreme Leader of Iran, the 85-year-old Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Raisi racked up experience as a prosecutor in multiple jurisdictions before coming to Tehran in 1985. It was in the capital city that, according to human rights organizations, he was part of a committee of judges who oversaw executions of political prisoners. Tributes have started pouring in for the late Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in an emotional shock, says he is, and I quote, deeply saddened and shocked by the tragic demise, end of quote, of Iranian president after Iranian media reported he had died in a helicopter crash. Also, a statement conveyed by Hamas says, and I quote, deepest condolences and solidarity to Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, the Iranian government and the Iranian people for this immense loss, end of quote. It praised the deceased Iranian leaders for supporting the Palestinian cause and resistance against Israel and expressed confidence that Iran's deep-rooted institutions will enable it to overcome the repercussions of this great loss. On his part, Iraq's Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani said his country expresses support for the Iranian people and leaders following the tragic incident, according to an official statement. All right, Rufai, I will start off this morning with this news from Iran and, of course, ripple effect around the world in terms of reactions, in terms of analysis. Your take on this story?
So first, condolences to the people of Iran, Islamic Republic of Iran, this morning on the loss of their president, Ayatollah Ibrahim Raisi. I think it was a television message, the state broadcaster this morning, that says the servant of the nation had gone. And that's to show you what really happened as regards, the love he got amongst the faction of the people that loved him. That's the conservative hardliners. It's a sore miss for them. He was a prodigy of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. And we all know Iran, after the Iranian Revolution, has pretty much been run by those grand councils of Ayatollah and all of that. And you have, the grand Ayatollah himself, and you have prodigies that go through the system. But also in the political terrain in Iran, there's been a lot of reformists trying to come to the fore to reform things since the Iranian Revolution of '79. In the last elections, the reformists were deeply shut out of the system, and it's always a dichotomy between the reformists and the hardliners, and Raisi was a strong hardliner. So as regards political things within, there's a ding-dong as regards the reformists and the hardliners, but the hardliners definitely, will always take the day. So let's see how the political structure will run internally, as this goes. But what are the, elements of the crash? He went to eastern Azerbaijan on a Bell 212 helicopter, made by the Canadians, to be able to inspect a dam and all of that. He was not aboard that helicopter alone. He was there with his security aide. Also, the governor of the eastern Azerbaijan province was also there. Also, we had, the very also influential Abadain, that's the foreign affairs, minister that has also been instrumental in this proliferation of Iran, nuclear, program and the likes, the back and forth, and all of these people have been sanctioned one way or the other because of the proliferation of the nuclear program, and he's been very hardline in support of the Palestinian and all of that, and also he's tried to make some move as regards this, cordial relationship they're trying to build again with Saudi Arabia, that has been up in the air for a while now. And then we also have, President Raisi there. What are the facts we know? He was traveling in the mountainous region. Obviously, the weather conditions were not good enough. The plane did come down. It took a while before they could do search and rescue. In fact, it was one of the Turkish drones that were hovering around that felt heat sensors, on ground to be able to ascertain the sites. At some point, there was some hope. If you had checked Press TV over the weekend, there was still some hope they were probably going to find them alive at some point. But when the news finally came, and they were not alive and all lives were not spared in that incident, the sad reality hit on them. And let's say it pans out, according to, the section, Article 131 of the Iranian Constitution, obviously the vice president will have to step in. The vice president, Mobek, used to be the head of SETAD. SETAD used to be a fund set up, by the Ayatollahs to be able to sell most of the properties they recovered after the Iranian Revolution in 79. So he's got an experience of a banker, but a lot of people don't think that he has that, gusto enough to be president and all of that, but he has to take over. In fact, as at over 30 minutes ago, a statement was issued that was also enunciated on Press TV that he says everything's under control. The Constitution says he's going to take over subject to the confirmation of Ali Khamenei, and afterwards, with the Assembly, the Parliament, and the Vice President and the Council, definitely they're going to move up to have elections in the next 50 days. So if Mohammed Mobek is going to run in that election, the question is out there. If the reformists are going to put in strong candidates in the election, the questions are out there. But definitely it should stabilize the ship, and we should have elections in the next 50 days. So as regards international dimension, yes, friends of Iran, the EU, will also talk about it. Anyway, we've not seen any Israeli response to all of this. Obviously, Charles Michel issued a statement. Narendra Modi and other, top ones out there issued a statement as regards this happening in Iran.
Okay.
Well, Iran has lost, a major political and religious leader in the person of its president, Ibrahim Raisi, who assumed office in 2021 as president. Before then, he had tried in 2019, he lost to Rouhani, and then he got lucky in 2021 in an election that was considered to have been marred by low turnout and allegations of rigging. But of course, he became president, and as president, he has been aligned mostly with the conservative and the hardline factions in Iranian politics. And he's also very close, of course, to the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, with whom he also has a very strong religious association. He's also a very strong Shia religious leader, having been born in Mashhad, in the northeastern part of Iran. And of course, he went to the religious seminary, and then emerged later as a prosecutor. And after some years, he served in that judicial panel that was responsible for execution of persons who were disloyal to the Iranian state. And he ended up as Attorney General of Iran. And it was on that platform that he sought to become president. First he failed, but then he succeeded in 2021. And as president, he's been taking the hard line. Rouhani was a centrist. He took a hardline position. And in the context of the conflict in the Middle East, he has been anti-Israel. He had also been anti-United States. The man that died along with him, the foreign minister, Abdurrahman Hinian, was also a hardline person like him. But these are major figures in Iranian politics. We commiserate with the supreme leader who has the final say in all matters in Iran and with the people of Iran. We join the various countries that have expressed their condolences, in this case, Russia, India, through Narendra Modi, and also Turkey, who have said this is a big shock and that this is a deeply saddening development. Now, this crash, there have been known attempts to look at maybe some conspiracy. There's been no attempt, from what I have read, about any conspiracy. What we have been told is that there was weather issues and that the helicopter also malfunctioned. What should be noted is that as a result of international, sanctions, Iran has been operating with, arsenal, airplanes and all that are pre-1979 revolution. And so it's not surprising that the helicopter will malfunction, because the sanctions against Iran block Iran from having access to spare parts. So this may well be clearly an accident. But in that accident, there were on board 9 persons. 2 helicopters managed to make it back. But in this particular case, the helicopter, ferrying the president, the prime minister, the governor of East Azerbaijan, and the representative of the revolution in East Azerbaijan, and others, the crew, didn't make it back. The Iranian Red Crescent Society, after 15 hours of, the search and rescue operation, came back and said, well, there was no sign of life. Very unfortunate incident. The president and the foreign minister and their entourage, they were on a diplomatic mission, to inaugurate a dam in East Azerbaijan, an event that was attended by President Aliyev of Azerbaijan. But on their return, this crash happened on Sunday, and it took 15 hours to locate them. Now, the question is, what is next for Iran? Now, Article 131 of the Iranian Constitution says that the first vice president takes over. In this case, his name is Mohammed Mukbar. Now, he takes over, but within 50 days, which will be early July, there will have to be another election. And that election will be conducted by the head of the judiciary, the speaker of the parliament, and also the first vice president who will oversee it. But of course, you will still need the imprimatur of the supreme ruler, in this case, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. There will have been another election in 2025 if this incident did not happen. The late Raisi will probably have been seeking another term in office. But now, this is the situation in which the Iranians have found themselves. But Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has told the people of Iran not to worry. He says there will be no disruption in the country's work. Well, we're still waiting. The Americans say they are monitoring the situation. We're still waiting for the Americans to express their condolences, if they would. We are also waiting for the EU and Israel, to express their condolences. Accidents happen. It can happen in any country. As I said, President Ibrahim Raisi was both a major political figure and also a major religious figure. He wore the black turban, which means that he was, a descendant, a direct descendant of the prophet, a Sayyid, as they call them. But, well, we're all human. Accidents do happen.
All right, again, condolences to the people of Iran and particularly the supreme leader, who also was a mentor to the late President Ibrahim Raisi. A number of things, of course, and conversations have happened since the news of the crash. News of the crash there floating in yesterday, Sunday, with speculations as to whether or not the president survived the crash. There were, media was not quick to begin to make speculations because of the gravity of what the results would be. But in the early hours of this morning, it was confirmed that indeed the president, the foreign minister, alongside other aides, were aboard that helicopter and unfortunately all passed away. Now, the president was very well clear on his stance, especially at this particular time with regards to geopolitics and the war against Israel and Hamas, as to backing Palestine. And in fact, one of the last statements or his views on this before he passed was a strong affirmation that the Muslim world must continue to back Palestine. He made this known at the launch or the oversight of the dam where he had traveled to go to before boarding the ill-fated helicopter, or the helicopter which then unfortunately crashed. A number of things about late President Raisi have been shared this morning, and we've heard condolences from around the world, particularly the Muslim nations, the Arab nations. And one of the things that have been said about him is his strong leadership, hardliner. From a very young age, he has pursued this. In fact, whilst praising him, a number of people have also taken the opportunity to analyze his time in office and some of the things that dominated his latter years in his position as president. One of which, of course, is the war, which he had taken a hard line against, and he was in support of the decision to launch missiles to Israel, which Israel later retaliated. And then also, of course, he had also taken being known as been strong when it came to the death sentence and had sat on a number of juries that passed this on. Also, in terms of the economy and protests, and the fact that at some point he was touted to take over or be the successor as the supreme leader of Iran, even though there were conversations around if this would happen or not happen based on his perception by the people. In fact, after the news broke out, there were rumors around the fact that fireworks that had been seen in Iran was as a result of people jubilating, but that was quickly debunked, as it was said that there was actually a festival taking place today, and was the eve of that festival that necessitated the fireworks and not particularly people rejoicing. Of course, conspiracy theories here and there as to how this has been received by people and how his life would be, and obviously a succession plan for him as well in Iran. It's still very early. Again, what a number of people are bringing out now is an analysis of the crash. At the moment, pending a full investigation which will be instituted, what has been said is that the very bad weather condition would have been responsible for the crash. In fact, aviation analysts have said that the fact that the pilot of the helicopter did not issue a mayday call meant that there were controllability issues, meaning that what was on his mind at that time before the crash possibly was to try to save and safely land. Hence, he didn't even have enough time for a mayday call. So there's still conversations around that, and then even questions around why he chose, or the pilot chose, to fly under such harsh conditions, particularly with the status of that, with the helicopter. But again, I'm sure once the full investigation is instituted and the reports are out, we will then have a bigger picture as to how this has happened. But at this moment, what is being said is that it was due to very harsh weather conditions. On a personal note, he survived by his wife, Jamila. Not a lot is known about his personal life, but what is known is that he has a wife who is a university lecturer, Jamila, and 2 adult daughters who survive him at this time. And so our condolences once again, not just to his immediate family members, but to the people of Iran.